Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Hope everybody is having a great week. We are midways for most of us, some of us not quite. If you work like I work, somewhere along midday Thursday is probably the middle of the week, but we're not going to uh, split atoms on it. Look, I come hoping to not only inspire you, but to in some way empower you to walk into your better self. That is my passion. It has been my passion for so many years, decades, to be a catalyst of change, not just for myself and my family, but for as many people as I can reach. And it has been a beautiful journey. It has had its ups and downs, its ins and outs, its frustrations and disappointments, but that's life. I want to kind of talk about how you move and operate and excel when things go wrong, when there are things that just seem to be moving against you. And we get an idea if we look at mainstream and we see the narratives, we start to think that some people are simply chosen to be successful while others have a lot of suffering and poverty and disappointment and frustration. Some people get to be happy and other people seem to be chased by misery, when the truth is this life is ultimately going to be what we make it. Not all we don't all inherit the same start. We don't all encounter the same challenges, but nobody gets through this life unscarred, unscathed, unimpacted, and um, you don't get to circumvent the challenges of life. You don't get to move around and avoid the vicissitudes of life. You don't get that opportunity or option as a true course. You may hide in the corner of comfort. You may sit up and you may do everything you can to avoid failure, to avoid heartache. But at the end of the day, it somehow finds you. The question isn't whether you can avoid it, it's how do you overcome it? What do you do when things go wrong? How do you make something out of nothing? How do you experience life at the highest level? How do you achieve your best self? You have to have a plan. You've got to have an idea. You've got to have a vision. You've got to have something that you can strive for, something that matters to you, something that tugs on your soul, not just your emotions. You need something you can anchor yourself in, because when the storms of life start to rage, you got to have something that anchors you, that you can sit up and say, I'm just going to hold my position until I gain my footing, but I'm never going to quit. I'm never going to give in. I am never going to turn around. My mantra is I came, I saw, and I conquered. But it started out years before that. I can, I will, I must. I decided that there were people dependent upon me who needed me to be the best version of myself. Matter of fact, I use a journal. One of my planners. I have multiple journals, but one of my planners also is a journal, and it's called a high performance planner. It's way more than just marking what you got in your day. It's constantly challenging you to think, and there's a series of questions that you must read every morning. It's called Morning Mindset. I'm looking at it. It's sitting right here, and so the third question in is someone who needs me to be on my A game today is. So, and I've always done that long before I started using the planner, but the planner just prompts you. It keeps you from getting so caught up and lost in the moment that you start to lose who you are and where you're going and what's going on. So it asks me, someone who needs me on my A game today. And normally it's my wife, my kids. Every now and then it's somebody that's really depending on me to come through for them. But a lot of times I look at who needs me to be on. Sometimes it's me. Sometimes I'm going through some things and I'm dealing with some things and I need to be on my A game to see the manifestation of the power of intent in my life, to see me be able to sit up and look at something and see the difficulty and establish in my mind that no matter what happens, I'm going to win. Sometimes it's me, but it has to be something you're anchored in. It's got to be something that makes you say, I can, I will, I must. There are going to be rough times. That it just simply is. You're not going to get around it, but you got to establish, I can, I will, I must. I can win. I will win. I must win. I can get over it. I will get over it. I must get over it. I can experience a breakthrough. I will experience a breakthrough. I must experience a breakthrough. I will not quit. That's the beauty of this thing that we live in called life, is that while it's guaranteed to bring some challenges, that you will discover that in your mind you have this. There's nothing more explosive and more powerful than a mind that believes anything is possible. It's in that mindset that you determine. Somebody asked me, I had a conversation with a new client about peace. They talked about peace, but I said, what you got to have a clear understanding of what peace is. You got to understand, how does peace look for me? But I said, do you want to know what peace really is? Peace isn't escaping challenge. Peace isn't the absence of turbulence. Peace isn't all of those things. Now, you want to have a space where you can retreat to, where there's an absence of all of the rigors and roles of life. You want to have a retreat. For most people, it's their home. But it's not always guaranteed. So how do you have peace even in turbulent moments? See, peace is the result of confidence. Peace is the result of knowing that there's nothing that I'm going to encounter that can break me. Peace is the confidence that says no matter how high the obstacle, no matter how wide the obstacle, no matter how difficult the challenge, I'm built for this. See, there's a peace in knowing that you can't bring anything to me that I can't overcome. There's a peace in it that says I can remain calm in the most difficult and challenging and threatening times. Why? Because I'm built for this. So you got to develop that, because, see, a lot of people are chasing a peace where there's no challenge. Oh, it's good to have a moment of rest and recovery. Oh, you need those. You need a place that you can retreat to. Sometimes that place is your mind. Sometimes that place is your mind. Sometimes the only place you can go to is inside your mind, where you can take yourself somewhere else, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, even an hour. So that you can remind yourself it's not going to always be like this. See, I've been in those places. I've told you my story. I've been at the height of success and I've fallen to the bottom, to the place I feared the most. See, I had to face my fears. But what I can tell you is I woke up every day and said, this is not the end of the story. I promised God, I said, if you wake me up, I'll answer the bell. I wasn't begging to be taken out of the storm. I was saying, leave me alive long enough to show people I'm coming out. See, I live my life to be a testimony of what's possible. I talk a lot, but I live more. And I need you to understand that. See, there were some people that counted me out 10 years ago, 11 years ago. Man, it's getting, it's amazing how when you set your mind, the things that are there, they get behind you real quick. I told you that you can't be in your past, live in your future. But if you focus and chase your purpose, you'll leave the past behind. And once you leave the past behind, you stop battling the past. You get what I'm saying? You stop battling the past. But anyway, what I'm trying to tell you is, I would sit there in some of those dark moments and I would start to feel sorry for myself. I would look at all the things I had done for people and nobody was there for me. I would look at all the things that I had did that I thought was good for people that I didn't even know. And here I was. And I was out on this island, it seemed. But see, that's where I grew strength. That's where I took it to another level. I had always been tough. I was never a quitter, but I had never been here before. And that's what people fear. That's why people don't take chances. They're afraid of landing in a space they've never been before and being consumed by it. But that's where you grow strength. That's where you grow power. That's where you start to explore the unlimited ability of your mind to create solutions for problems that other people are folding under the pressure of. I'm trying to tell you that it should have broke me. That was a bunch of people that should have loved and helped me, that were wishing for my demise and think I didn't know it. They were discussing me in the background, gambling and betting on when I would fold, and look at me. What I'm trying to tell you is I ain't even done yet. I'm not even close to being done yet. 24 books published, 25 on the deck being written as I speak. All of this came on the heels of the world thinking it was over, but I stood up. I can, I will, I must. My conversation with God was simple. Don't let me die. Just let me keep breathing and watch me. This is me talking to God. Wake me up and watch me. That's all I said. All you got to do is wake me up and watch me answer the bell. Watch me show people what's possible when I'm not just sitting up talking about God. I'm sitting up personifying and executing the power of God in my life. When everybody else thinks I should be folding, I'm rising and they don't understand it. I'm confounding my enemy through my faith, not by speaking it, but by living it. I'm trying to tell you, you're going to have to stand up. You're going to have to stand up and you're going to have to face some things if you want to become that person you're designed to be. If you want to become that thing on the inside of you that needs to be fulfilled, that void that no matter what you chase, you can't seem to. It's because you're living for someone else. You're trying to do something somebody else told you to do. You're trying to match and meet somebody else's demands on your life. There's something inside of you that the world needs that nobody else can do, and you are not walking in it, and you are living a life of emptiness and misery, and you can't explain it. Some of you got all the money you can want in the bank, and you're still miserable. Why? Because it's more than just money. Man, when you start walking in your purpose, when you start living in the fullness of your design, when you start literally having every day something you wake up for that's really literally yanking you out of the bed, the alarm clock has to catch up with you. You know how many times I wake up every morning before the alarm clock goes off at 4? Quite often. Why? I'm going to get something. And I'm not chasing it out of desperation. I'm chasing it out of purpose and passion. It's time that you step away from your vicarious experiences. What do I mean by that? Far too many of you are living your lives through other people. Some of you have gotten older now and you're living your lives through your children. Others are living lives through celebrities. Others are living lives through people they read about. And it's nothing wrong with being inspired by somebody else, but you better learn how to write your own narrative. You better learn how to set your own standards. You better learn how to create your own experiences. You better learn how. Ain't nobody's life supposed to be more fascinating than yours. Because you're supposed to be living life at the level of your design. You're supposed to be making an impact in this world. You're supposed to be a living, breathing expression of divine nature. And you're sitting around and you're wallowing in something that has no business holding you down. That's on you. You are the only option to bring your vision, your dreams to reality. Nobody else can do it for you. Nobody else can sit up and step into your place and move on your behalf. There can be no other person that can take your position in this life and fulfill your destiny. You are the only option. And there are some people watching you. Some of you got children who are looking at you to set an example. Some of you have people in your community, in your workplace that are looking at you to set an example. There are some people that have been hearing you talk about God all your life, and they're waiting for you to show God in your life, not by some religious ritual practice, but by a triumphant way that you're living your life. That's how you represent God. Who do you think wants to come meet a God that you constantly talk about when every day you live in defeat? And I ain't talking about what you're going through, because people go through things. I'm talking about even when you're going through it, they ought to be look at you and just be confounded. That when I was flat on my back, the time that I was homeless. And so I'm gonna tell you, that's homeless, and then that's homeless after you had everything. There's a level of guilt, shame, and a bunch of other things that comes when you were sitting in a space where you had more than the average person will ever experience in their life. And now you're sitting down there and you're homeless. But see, even in my homelessness, I lived triumphantly. I woke up every morning. I went and showered at the 24-hour fitness where I had an executive membership. So I had my own locker, my own space, everything in there that was mine. It was assigned to me. I didn't have to take it out every day. And I sit up and I showered. I cleaned up. I dressed up. I grabbed my computer and I went to work at my satellite office in Starbucks in West Village in uptown Dallas, a place where I didn't know a whole bunch of people. I wasn't in a native area. I was making it on my own in a space where I didn't have a whole bunch of allies. But I woke up, and then you know what I did around noon? I packed up everything, put it in my backpack, and I had them bought me a bike, and I rode the bike. It wasn't that big of a deal in uptown. Everybody's riding bikes in uptown. I rode me a bike. And I would go down to this place called The Bridge. It's the largest homeless shelter in Dallas. And I would go in and I would minister. I would speak. I would tell people about, how they could overcome. I could tell people it was going to be okay. I went and made a deal with a food truck of somebody I had met at a park in Dallas who had a food truck they were from Fort Worth. But I made a deal with them. Look, man, tell me, I will give you sessions. Again, person didn't know I didn't have a place to stay. I didn't let that affair. I could have sought shelter, but then that would have interfered because people ain't trying to hear it when you are where they're at. They need to see somebody they can relate to, but really somebody that's coming up. So nobody ever knew. I never complained. I never whined. I never stood up and told anybody but a few people what I was going through. I'm trying to get you to understand something here. So I went and made a deal with them. Then I went to a thrift store and I made a deal with them to come out on the same day every Saturday that the truck would come out to the shelter and pass out food for free, that they would come out and pass out clothes so that they had plenty of clothes. They had plenty of socks. Socks and underwear are huge with homeless people, in case you didn't know. I make sure they have plenty of socks, plenty of home, but they had pants, clothes, coats, everything that they need, blankets, anything like that. And then I would fellowship with them. I didn't treat them like they were some distant person. My experiences had brought me into a space where now I wasn't just empathetic. I was right there in the middle of it. I knew what they were feeling. I knew their heartache. I knew their pain. I knew that they felt invisible. So I let every last one of them know that they were seen, that they were special, that was people who cared about them. And I would invite people. I would go to church and say, hey, look, I'm going to do this on this Saturday. Just come out. You ain't got to do nothing but just fellowship with them. Show them some attention. Show them some conversation. Get them some love. I went out and I did that. And it got so big that the police start coming out, shutting it down. This is what I'm doing while I'm going through. And then people start looking at me and saying, man, you in denial. No, I'm not in denial. See, there's something inside of me that disagrees with my circumstances. There's something on the inside of me that's connected to God on a level that has God working through me, being in me, expressing the divinity of God through me, that tells me I'm not going to be here forever, that I'm passing through, and that a big part of my legacy is going to be how I handle this moment. Look at me now. I'm trying to tell you that that's how you tell people about God, by the life you live. Look how God's working in my life. You're talking about a person who holds 2 doctorates. One of them is in theology. You know how many times I quoted a scripture when I minister to those people? I could count them on the hand. I ministered in a way that the scriptures spoke through me, that they can understand me, where they didn't feel I was preaching to them, where they didn't feel I was preaching down to them, where they didn't feel I was talking down to them. Let me meet you where you're at. Let me teach you what I know. Let me lift you. Oh, there's some unbelievable things in the things that you are trying to get away from. You don't manifest and evangelize through, never mind. The most powerful way to evangelize is through the life you live. If you have a desire to bring people to God the way you see God, they better see God active in your life. And when I say active, I don't mean church. I mean in your life. After you leave church and you've shouted yourself into a lather, what are you going home to? When you wake up on Monday morning and now it's time to feed the kids and pay the mortgage, what are you going to work to? What is your heart and your mind saying about where you're at and what you're doing? Are you living? See, even in my darkest hour, they saw smiles and victory and triumph. Because see, a warrior is moving towards something and never trapped in any moment. I'm fighting to be better every day. And I haven't stopped fighting. I haven't become complacent. I'm still climbing. That's what people see in me. That's why people gravitate to the energy that I create, because I'm not here to say I'm better than you. I'm here to show you how you can live your best life. But I'm going to show you that you cannot be beaten down by life. Finally, there are three types of people. You can break them down in all different type of subcategories. You can put them in all different type of personality types. You can put them in a bunch of different things that I could talk hours upon hours about. But what I can tell you is basically comes down to three types of people: people who watch things happen, people who wonder why things happen or what happened, and then there are people who make things happen. It's that simple. You're either going to be a person that just sits by and watches life happen, and then you move to and fro based off of what's going on in your life, and your emotions are all over the place, and you never, ever truly gain your footing. And then they'll just sit up completely lost, just wondering what in the world is going on. Never, ever get any bearings on anything, just moving along, being very, 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 oscillating in their life experiences. And then there is that person that sits up and says, I'm waking up this morning and I'm going out and I'm going to find the opportunity I need to accomplish the things that I need to accomplish. And then they wake up and they go out and they do it. If they can't find it, they create it. They don't sit around and wait on somebody to do something. They find a way to make it happen. They find the right people to connect to. They find the right space to operate in. They don't sit around waiting on the perfect timing. They don't sit around waiting on the perfect opportunity. They understand it's up to them to go get it. Here's the beautiful thing about all of it, though. You as a person get to determine which one of those three types you're going to be. It used to be believed a long time ago that you were kind of born, and by the age of 5 to 7, you were pretty much locked in and hardwired to be the type of person you were going to be. But now there's this thing that we've discovered over the last few decades called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity says every time you have a new thought, you create new neurosynaptic connections in your mind, and that these connections will become wired to other connections that are in same categorical topical experiences. So if you have an experience or new idea about love, everything in your mind that is concerns love will be connected to this new synaptic connection. Now, how often you visit that new synaptic connection in imagery, in imagination, in thought, and in action will determine how strong it becomes, how emphatic it becomes on how you think and how you move. If you decide that you're going to start investing in yourself and changing your thinking, you create these neurosynaptic connections. And as the strength of a new faith and a new belief system and a new belief in opportunity starts to develop, the old system of limited beliefs and failure will atrophy. It will eventually disappear and it will be gone. And inside of you will have something new. This is what I do with my clients. I take them through a process of creating new ideas through the introduction of new thoughts, new ideas, new beliefs, and constantly, repetitively reinforce it. And then over time, you start to believe it because the mind cannot resist what it's being consistently fed. Whatever you feed your mind the most is what you're going to end up experiencing. Now, the problem is most of you are feeding your mind negativity and fear, worry and anxiety. Oh my God, I can't. And if you say you can't, you can't. So that's the thing. You're going to determine where you end up in this life. And so I encourage you to wake up every morning and say, I can, I will, I must. Wake up every morning and say, I can get over it. I will get over it. I must get over it. I can get through it. I will get through it. I must get through it. I will win. I can win. I will win. I must win. You got to keep saying it until you believe it. You got to keep saying it until it starts to change your emotional state. And then it'll change your mental state. And then before you know it, you'll be sitting up there and you'll be moving in a space that you never thought possible. Nothing can be withheld from you. Nothing can be withheld from you. It's your responsibility, nobody else's, to live this life on full. It's your responsibility. Look, I'm about to get off of here. As I have been reminding all of you guys for the last few weeks, we're doing the Rapid Change Breakthrough Session. I absolutely love this program. Normally I charge $350 per session. Anybody that works with me knows my prices. You can go to my site and you can see my prices. My largest, my regular package is a bronze package is 12 weeks. That's normally $2,540. My platinum package, my number one individual personal plan. I have business packages, but my top package is the platinum package. That is $10,500. That's for 52 weeks. That's a year of working with me. $10,500. Believe it or not, 90% of my clients, somewhere way up in that range, have the platinum package because they see the value in it. But this remainder of the year, because I am so intent on taking as many people as possible into 2022 on the right note with momentum, that I've actually cut my Rapid Change Breakthrough Session in half. If you truly want to change something and you want to see an immediate adjustment and you want to see what that feels like, what that looks like, and go into 2022 with a entirely different and deliberate, intentional place and momentum, click the link in the box, sign up. You will be contacted by the support team to schedule your session with me. I'm going to conduct a DISC assessment, which is going to evaluate your strengths, how you normally do things, where you're strong at, because you want to make your moves with your strengths. You want to strengthen your weaknesses, but your moves should be made with your strengths. Your strengths are your strengths for a reason. You know, yes, improve weaknesses every chance you get, but operating your strengths. And then you find people to partner with who represent strengths in your weaknesses. You're not meant to do this thing alone. You're meant to be in a circle of people who fan your flames and provide access to things you don't have, and you provide them the access to things they don't have. Together, you make power moves. Stop operating on an island and hoping and wishing that the world falls in your lap. You better go out and get it. Let me show you how. Click that link and let's make it happen. But whatever you do, you've got to wake up every morning. I can, I will, I must. I can, I will, I must. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. I live my life on full each and every day. And when I leave this place, whenever that is, I hope it's 45, 50 years from now, just sitting up full of life and smiling. But whenever it is, I will leave here on empty, on E, because I will have given the world everything I had. And I will have made an impact that speaks of me long after I'm gone. My challenge to you is that you should do the same. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day.